YouTube. My name is Andrew. Welcome to the FL Studio Masterclass. In this episode, and from this episode to the end of the season, we're going to be covering in depth Harmor. I'm going to take you from an absolute beginner to an absolute master. If there's anything you don't know, I'm going to teach you it throughout this tutorial series. So let's jump right in. Today we're going to be covering a complete overview. I'm not going to do too much today, other than just explaining how everything works. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to notice is this giant interface. You'll have an ADSR with a graph here. You've got volume controls here. This is your pre-volume, your post-volume. You got pitch controls. Here's some legato, velocity, portamento. Prism is a really cool feature. I'm not really going to get into what it does at this time, but we will cover that later. All right, this is your harmonizer. This allows you to add several levels of harmony into your sound. Your tremolo, that's when you adjust the volume of something in a certain sequence. You have speed options, depth options, and gap options, which allow it to seem like it's a pan. For panning, you really wouldn't want to use tremolo. In fact, tremolo is a really basic feature for beginners. I will give you a much more comprehensive way of making tremolo in other aspects of the program. Up here you have your timbre. You can double click on the timbre and go ahead and adjust to make your timbre shape completely different. We're not going to do that. Right now the timbre is set as a sawtooth. Throughout this series, of course, I will show you things like how to do timbre as well. This is a square, and this is what a square sounds like. And this is what a saw sounds like. Okay. These are your subharmonic frequencies. This is a sub 12, this is a sub 5, and this is a sub 7, or sub 7 and sub 5. Okay, and what that means is this 12 notes down. So if I press this now, right, this is 7 notes down, sorry, and 5 notes down. All right. This is vibrato. Vibrato is a pitch modulation. It allows, it's when you see a violinist shaking their finger on a violin, that is vibrato. And this is what it sounds like. Speed. You'll notice that it changes the pitch quickly. And you can adjust the speed. Now, vibrato is a great option for a second LFO. However, you won't want to use vibrato for most applications. It's just not as useful as an LFO. Okay, this is pluck. So when I click on pluck, pluck applies a few different features simultaneously. It's a quick beginner's way of getting a plucking sound that sounds like a guitar in some ways. All right, now here you have several filters, or you have 2 filters at this time. Filter 1, here's your envelope controls. We'll get into the details of what they do. Envelope controls, keyboard controls, width controls, and frequency controls in your first filter. This is your resonance for the filter, first filter, the resonance width, and your resonance offset, as well as self-oscillation, a really cool feature that you do not find in almost any other software synthesizer out there. It's a fantastic feature. Unfortunately, Harmor hasn't really mastered the implementation of it, but at least it has it, and you can do some things with it. Here's your unison. You can do a lot with unison. Again, we'll go into detail on what exactly unison is in the video. This is your pitch frequency. This is the ability to go up an octave. And this is detune. Never confuse detune with pitch. It is not detuning the frequency. You'll notice it's in the same key and the same note each time. That's detune, and we'll go into greater detail as to what that is for you as well in the future. Here's your phaser settings. We'll deal with phaser later. Custom shapes, your filter information, we'll deal with that later as well. Strumming features, something we'll go into a little later as well. Here's something we'll use quite frequently and in probably one of the next videos. Notice that when I adjust legato time, which is located here, right, and portamento time is the exact same thing. Portamento on, you can only press one key at a time. Sorry. Legato on, you can only press one key. Legato on, you can press many keys. Okay, this is a menu that has a ridiculous number of features. This is where the real workhorse and power horse of FL Studio lies. In here, you have a menu to select from several different features within FL Studio. And once you select those features, you then have a second menu that you can go in and select from. And when you do select those, say for example, envelope or LFO, you then have several features as well. And each one of these graphs can be edited individually. It's absolutely and unbelievably flexible. Here you have an image generator that allows you to generate sounds based on an image, a really cool feature that we'll get into in a later video. Here's your FX that includes distortion, chorus, delay, and reverb, as well as compression. We'll get into each of those in a later video, and I'll show you some really cool tricks on how you can use each of these to do some really interesting things to make your sound wider, deeper, richer, and just much more professional. And then this is your advanced tab. We will go into complete detail on what you can do here. This is your keyboard, and in here you can name your preset. That'll carry over once you save your preset to future uses of that preset. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that's everything for this video. Stay tuned for the next video where we will cover, we'll actually make a first instrument.